Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in your day. The Y is critical thinking. Okay, and applying. Now we're getting into some doing. Okay, and you guys probably use this. You might not even think about it, but this is like problem solving 101. First thing is identify what you know. Take an inventory. You get in a bad spot, you want to make a list of everything that you know. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, what's the problem? What do you want to solve? What do you want to know? Okay? So what do you have? What do you want to know? And then, how are we going to solve it? How are we solving this? What are we going to do? And then you go to learned. What have we learned through this process? And if the how works, then great. We know how to solve whatever this problem wanted to know. If it didn't work, then we've learned something. So then we need to go back. What do we know? Did we miss anything there? What do we want to know? Have we clarified the question? How are we going to do this? If it didn't work the first time, are there some tweaks we can make? Are we going to try a different strategy? What's going on? And just keep cycling through. That's real world. That's critical thinking. That's problem solving. That's stuff you guys are going to have to deal with for the rest of your life. It's going to help you to be good at it. All right, so rant over. Let's go down here. We're given R and P. Little letters are sides. Uppercase letters are angles. So we want to find N. So we're given R and P, and we're going to try to find angle N. What trig function relates those two? If we look at N, R is adjacent, and P is the hypotenuse. So I'll put A, H. What trig function relates A and H? That's all you have to write. Cosine. Just need to identify the ratio. On this one, we're given N and measure of angle R. So here's R, and we're given measure of angle N. So N would be adjacent. Write that a little bigger, maybe you can see that. What is R? Little r, lowercase r, based on angle R, uppercase R. Well, I'm pretty sure that's the opposite. So what trig function relates adjacent and opposite? Tangent. Again, identify what we know. What do we want to know? So we're just building this base. Now, how are we going to do this? Eventually, we're going to just use some algebra. In most cases, we're going to write an equation. And then what have we learned? We've learned how to solve trig ratios. Okay, so what do we got here? What do we know? We know P, lowercase p, so I'm pretty sure that's a hypotenuse. We're looking for angle N, which is up here, and we're trying to find N. So N would be pretty sure that's the opposite. So what trig function relates opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. Okay, that's the first piece. I'm going to jump down to the bottom. I modeled a little of this yesterday, but I'm going to model some more. We're going to work on some more here. So now we're finding X. Okay, so let's find X. What do we know? We know what we want to know. We want to find X. So let's identify what we have. X is, based on 59, X is adjacent. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So x is adjacent. 20 is the hypotenuse. How we're going to solve this? We know what we know. We've taken inventory. We've identified stuff. X is what we want to know. That's the problem. Helps to know what the problem is if we want to find a solution. So then we need to, how we're going to do this, we're going to write an equation. So hypotenuse and adjacent, I'm pretty sure that's cosine. So cosine of some angle, we use theta. It's a Greek letter. It's usually used to identify angles. Cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. Plug in what we know, chug it out. Cosine of the angle is 59. The adjacent is x, the hypotenuse is 20. And then we talked about how to solve this. And one easy way that I like to use is just think about it like cross multiplying. 1 times x is x. Cosine 59 times 20 is cosine 59 times 20. Just going to fire that in my calculator. And what would I get? I use one of yours. So might be a little bit more consistent. Cosine 59, close it, times 20. I got 10. It's not 10 degrees. It's 10 units. We don't know what the units are, so it's just 10. What have we learned? We've learned how to use a trig function to find the side of a right triangle. Okay. So now we know how to do that. And if we have an issue, if there's a harder problem, then we look at an easier problem that we know how to do. That's more problem solving 101. 13. Identify what we know. We've got this angle, that's going to be theta. We've got this angle, which is going to be a hypotenuse. We got this angle, which is the opposite. Trig function that combines opposite and hypotenuse. Sine of theta is O over H. Plug it in, plug it in. Sine cross multiply. 1 times x is x. Sine of 49 times 27. Bada bing, bada boom. That is it. That is all. I hope that makes sense to you. We will practice that. We will work on a worksheet. We'll probably present and see where we are. Any questions? Thank you for your time. Looking forward to working with you as we move forward. Do well.